Hello and welcome to another episode of Honest to Malt with myself, Duncan Donuts, still recovering from a frantic weekend in Glasgow, 4 or 5 days off the booze post-festival, and Mike, aka Tupuds.
Hello, also equally struggling with 2 festivals back to back and being 42 years old with a small child.
Yeah, shit got real, man.
Yeah,
Shit got real.
Shit got ill. I think is better.
Let's go for a fun weekend. Let's go enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Free from responsibilities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't overdo it at all.
Well, we had like 1 day almost off the booze completely, I thought. But... So, what's the name of the episode today, my friend?
So we are episode 77 and it's called Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Many connotations there.
Yeah. We're going to be talking a bit about Friday and Saturday of our Glasgow trip, which included jaunts to the Bonaccord and also to the Pot Still, which I now think of as Le Pot Still.
Le Pot Still.
It's not fair for one of them to have a French name and not the other, so it's now Bonaccord and Le Pot Still.
Apparently, Michel Henry has moved in there.
Yeah. Glasgow is in
Rumour
France, if anyone didn't know that. It's
the least French place on earth.
It's in a country which has blue and white in its flag.
Yes, that's about it.
So we're going to be chatting a bit about that before we get into all of those things and the big day at the festival at Hampden Park. What's been in your glass and what's been up your arse, my friend?
What's in your glass?
Not a lot of booze because I have been, as I said, struggling to get back into drinking whiskey. I'm sort of like whiskeyed out a touch, not massively, but a little bit. What I have had is the Ezra Brooks, basically bourbon version of Bailey's, which was sent to me, and that is delightful. It's like Bailey's but sweeter, which I like Bailey's, but yeah, turn the booze up a touch. Yeah, just loads more salted caramel and sort of stuff in there. It's decent.
I feel like we're going to be jumping ahead here, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Right, now we're having a Bailey's versus Ezra Brooks. What did you call that? Ezra Brooks?
Ezra Brooks Bourbon Cream, I think it is.
Ezra Brooks Bourbon Cream. How does that stack up against 2 Stacks luxury liqueur?
Oh, close. I'd probably, if I was forced...
Gun to your head.
Gunpoint, I would obviously choose the Irish.
Be a weird thing, wouldn't it? You're on your knees. You're on your knees in the street, gun to the head.
Yeah,
thinking, what do they want from me? They just want to know.
Bound to be the Irish one.
Yeah, are you going to pick 2 Stacks or not?
I would pick 2 Stacks over the 3 of them, then the Ezra Brooks, then the Baileys. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll cover that off shortly, but yeah, the 2 Stacks cream was delightful.
Nice. So you've been having an easy one then, really?
Super easy, very, very little booze. I guested on the Sipping Point podcast and had some blind drams with them during the week. So that was my only sort of foray into drinking since Glasgow. So a reasonably dry week for me, should we say.
Fair enough.
But,
anything been up your arse?
No, I am like zen'd to the max. I think it's because I'm so tired still, so ill, just generally like coasting. All I can say is what's been up my arse, to an extent, is IT support at work. I spent 2 hours on the phone with them today trying to get access to my work systems again, because obviously I've been off due to my disability-ish, self-inflicted via the gym. And yeah, still can't get access. There's a whole day of just doing nothing on my return.
And who said that the UK was a productive country, right?
Mate, it made me laugh. Like, as soon as you ring IT, it's like automated messaging, and everyone's trying to do this like voice. I am having a rant now, aren't I?
Yeah.
It's going into like voice recognition, and it's like, say your username, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, do you need this? If your problem relates to this, press 1. Press 2. And I'm not joking. If the option relates to this, press option 16. And I'm like, I'm losing my shit here.
Yeah.
Speak to an operator. Speak to a fucking operator.
I always wonder when you're swearing on those things, how much they're recording of you just swearing away. And whether someone's just listening to it going, oh, they're really angry. Give them another 2 minutes.
Transfer him to someone else.
Yeah, they do that.
So, yeah. That's been up my arse.
When you're
IT support and automated systems. My God, yeah, infuriating. But Yeah, he's a little rant rather than my usual out and out rage. But how about you? What's been in your glass? What has been up said arse?
I'll start with the rant because I'm going to feed off your energy there.
Yes.
It was just from today. Basically, before we went to Wales, this has been going on for a little while. I got an email from my motorbike insurance company saying, we're going to cancel your insurance. I'm like, what? Why are you cancelling my insurance? I haven't crashed, I haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that they wanted me to prove that I had 4 years of no claims bonus rather than 3. They challenged me. They were like, challenge.
Right.
We don't believe you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Seems a
you're a
bit
liar.
ridiculous because I'm only claiming 1 more year.
Yeah.
And they wanted extra money for it. So I contacted my previous insurance company and I got hold of a certificate and I called them. I spoke to their support and they said both supports. And he said, send it to this email address. So I did that. Job done. 25th of October. Left it because, I provided proof, right? So therefore I didn't have to pay more money. Turned out that they just cancelled my motorbike insurance. Just cancelled it. And they sent me a message saying, we've updated your policy, which I just presumed meant everything was fine. There was no email to say, hey, we've cancelled it. And so then I called them today and I spent about an hour and a half today sorting it out. And they just basically been inept. And they're like, do you want us to reinstate it? I'm like, you think? I was like, here's your options. Refund me in full, right? And be very nice to account for how much stress and time I'm wasting on this. Or 2, reinstate it and offer something else. Like,
have you used the bike?
I mean,
because they fucking.
That's what I said.
Something
It's on
had happened
them.
there.
It's on them, right?
100%.
Nothing did happen, but I mean,
Mate.
could have done, couldn't it?
Oof.
Terrible, isn't it?
That could have been a proper little sticky situation.
I mean, barely, but I mean, luckily I don't ride it regularly, so that's sort of lucky for them. But I feel like that would have been on them really.
Yeah,
like, that's their fault, right?
It was that. Yeah, that's a.
I mean, if it went to some sort of court situation, they would say it's their fault. I mean,
yeah,
it was a joke. So anyway, that really annoyed me. But there is a couple of good things. So what's in my glass right now is a pour of Springbank 18 from Simon the Whiskey Novice. That's the 100% bourbon one that you tried a while ago. It's so beautifully delicate. And I'm having it to celebrate getting a bottle of cask strength 12. Oosh.
Which was finished in...
It is...
Or is it fully matured?
No, it's hint of rum, mostly sherry. I haven't really looked too much to the make of it, when it's too close. I just know I'm going to crack it really soon.
Yeah.
So it's the first.
Get it open. Get it now. I want to hear the pop.
Yeah, maybe.
Otherwise, everyone knows you're just going to put it in auction.
I'm not going to
tell everyone you did.
I'm 100% going to crack it. It'll be cracked really, really soon. I've just cracked open a bottle of that Glasgow 1770 Masala.
Yeah.
Right. I've just cracked a bottle of like Tamdu, Derby Alley. I've cracked a few really. So I cracked another Macallan, Speyside M. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm drinking this Springbank 18 now. Maybe I'll do taste notes as we go through it. But it's beautifully delicate, super lightly peated, 100% bourbon cask. Very nice. What happened with the Springbank 12 cask strength is I was feeling like horrendous on Friday morning. And this shop had a drop. Do you remember the shop from episode 1?
I'm nodding and pulling the face.
Mike's angry. I mean, this is tapping into a moment he doesn't want to go back to. But basically, they had a drop on Friday morning, and I was feeling horrendous, and I just couldn't bring myself to get up and go over there at sort of 7:30, 8 a.m. or whatever to stand in queue. And just to be clear, I don't want the Amontillado, whatever it is, fancy one. I just wanted a bottle of Springbank 12. That was it, right? For £68.95. That's all I wanted. I'm not looking to get anything to flip or whatever. I just want one bottle, a reasonable price I can open up. The last time I had Springbank Cask Strength 12 was in a sample or in Kendal. And before that, I got a bottle. I really enjoyed it, but it seems like an eternity ago now, right?
Yeah.
And so I gave them a call at about 11:40. And I just went, look, lads, how'd it go today? Like, I'm ruining the fact I couldn't make it down. How was it? You did it on a Friday rather than a Saturday or a Sunday. What was it like? Were people queuing for like ages?
Yeah.
And they were like, do you know, it was all right. There was people had been queuing. We're not sure how long for. He said one guy said he'd only been there 5 minutes, but his face said otherwise.
Yeah. It's dishevelled clothes.
Just trying to keep us. He's like, I've only been here 5 minutes. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so,
of course you are.
So then I was chatting to him and he went, well, we've almost sold out. I was like, almost sold out? What have you got left? He's like, I've got a bottle of Springbank 12. I'm like, car strength? He's like, yeah. I was like, can I buy that off you now?
Yeah.
How about I buy that and we put a nice Christmas bottle of port on top
Yeah.
and I bank transfer it to you straight away, and I'll come and pick it up later when I'm not feeling like rubbish. And he was
Yeah.
like, okay, we can do that for you. So the hero did. But
Fair
to be
play.
fair, that was around midday once the
Yeah.
initial rush had gone. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, people are only interested in that flip.
His shop was empty at that point, or he was no one in the shop, so I wasn't causing him any trouble.
Yeah.
He honoured his word. I went over, I picked it up, boom. So now I've got a lovely bottle of Graham's 2010 port for Christmas. Nice vintage bottle, and a bottle of Cask Strength 12 to crack open soon.
Decent.
Happy days.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And I didn't have to get up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And get 7th in the queue, you prick.
Yeah, it was 8th, wasn't
Not
it?
that I, yeah,
You were 9th, I think.
I was 9th, that was
That
it.
was
Yeah,
it. It was
yeah,
8
that
bottles,
was
which
it.
is really random
Yeah.
anyway.
I should have checked because I've got it engraved in my leg where I stabbed myself.
Just in biro.
Times.
As you're standing in the queue, carving it in. Yeah. And the other thing was really randomly good. I've never been able to find any of the music from the band I was in at university ever.
Yeah.
So I just Googled it again. And randomly, some record producer who obviously went to lots of rubbish gigs when they were younger has put all of the demos or mini albums.
Yeah.
They've put them all online. And not just our stuff,
way.
like loads of stuff from like the Norwich music scene and all around the coast.
The
and
Norwich music scene, so it's
Cambridge.
just you lot.
Yeah, there's loads of bands they put on there. So what I'm saying is they've not just put our band up, they've put loads of bands up. And so I found this link to this archive and I was able to listen to all our old music, which was really cool.
You need to post that.
Yeah, maybe I will. I was thinking,
Look at you like, maybe I will. I've listened to it. It's not that great.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It was, see what we think.
In your head, it was better.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, yeah, we nearly made it.
I was like, yeah, I could see why we could have been better. Yeah, but it was good. It was good band, it's good fun and stuff. So, where do you want to start on the Friday? Talk us through. What did we do? Glasgow.
What did we do? We got in, literally dumped our shit in the room, headed on out. And obviously, there's only one thing you can do when you go to Glasgow. Immediately get yourself to the Pot Still, which was the closest.
Le Pot Still.
Le Pot Still. Get over there, go in, take it in. And do you know what? As much as it's like, it's a great bar, I think we have been somewhat blessed by having rather large whiskey collections at periods. So it wasn't that overwhelming. I think some people go in there and they're like, oh my God.
I was expecting more.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I was. I think the Bon Accord, because we went there afterwards, the Bon Accord was a more impressive bar for stuff.
It's a small pub, right?
Yeah. Tiny
pub, just a lower bit and an upper bit. And lovely friendly bar staff.
Super cool.
We bumped into Lee J.
We did.
Very tall guy.
Yeah.
Very handsome.
That's everyone though for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everyone for me.
Everyone's like super tall.
Yeah,
really
that's
massive.
true actually, yeah. Just for the giants, isn't it?
Yeah. He was lovely. So yeah, it was nice to actually meet again, sort of Twitter sphere and whiskey sphere in real life.
We basically piled in, had a pint and ordered a pie. Now, Mike, these pies.
I mean, whiskey aside, it's probably worth going just for the pies. And it is like just a perfect little... I had like a haggis one, I think.
Yeah, you had like a traditional one, yeah.
Potato crisped on the top, like mashed, but like then sealed with flame and then just kept warm with mushy peas or nearly mushy peas.
Yeah, served. They ask you, do you want beans or mushy peas with it? So I thought, get mushy peas or peas, basically. Not.
Yeah. I feel like that one, if you had said beans, like the place would have just ground to a halt.
No, but someone told us it was cool. It was more local to get beans, so it's hard to judge these things, isn't it? I felt like peas was the way to go, but what do I know? I mean,
I think I just needed a bit of like veg in my system. My body knew it was going to be a bit of a challenge, and so absolute quality pies.
£4.50 a pop, by the way.
Were they?
Yeah, cheap as chips.
Peas as well. Like that'd be a tenner in London minimum. Can you imagine that? A like traditional pie in London.
It's because they put it on a no fuss plate. You see, in London they put it on some fancy plate and a bit of garnish, and they called it like $8.95 or something. But it's just $4.50 for the pie.
I did laugh a couple of the old geezers that were sat next to us, and one of them, they were trying some of the drafts, and he came back and he went, "Unbelievable! That is ridiculous pricing." And he was like, "That is £5 a pint." And I was like, I kill for a £5 a pint in London. I pay that for Foster's.
It was £5 for like a sort of slightly fancy craft ale or something like that, right? It wasn't like £5 for like mild. I think we paid like £4.30 for a pint of mild or something.
Yeah, it just made me chuckle. I was like, we are really not in Kansas anymore. Yeah. Enjoyed that one, and then we moved on to where? The Bomb.
We went for a spot of Japanese across the road, stored up, had some nice Japanese food.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember the name of the place. And then we went to the Bon, which is basically about half an hour away from the Pot Still.
My God.
And up a very sort of fairly steep hill.
It was a mountain. We did take the piss at one point saying this we need to order a Ben Nevis as soon as we get in this bar because we basically walked up a mountain to get here. Yeah. Like, fucking hell. But weirdly on the way back, reasonably flat.
On my days, so, because you're so tired, I know you're missing some key bits, so you've forgotten. Allow me to jog your memory.
Go.
In the Pot Still, we ordered a couple of pints, and you got us a couple of drams. Yeah. You got us the Jura 16.
Yes.
And
Tobermory 10.
10, but
from
classic.
The 70s or 80s?
Some sort of vintage edition, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought the Jura 16 was pants.
Yeah.
Like properly pants.
I've got another tasting of it coming up, tweak tasting, so be interesting to see if it was just something in that bottle, but it was just... I was so expecting great stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy they're going down the route of better strength and natural
46.5%.
Yeah, but still, it was really, really bitter. It was just a sourness running through it that just did not strike with me whatsoever.
I wasn't getting a lot of the sweetness. It was sort of buried in that kind of bitter and sourness.
I akin it to when you get peanuts that are still in their skin.
Yeah.
And you get the odd one that tastes like slightly burnt or acidic skin. It's really strange. It kind of had that taste running through it. So maybe it's the bottle. I don't know. We'll soon see. If it's the same on Wednesday, then
good luck.
Yeah, tweak tasting is going to be awkward.
Well,
sorry, Kieran. White's my guy, but yeah, it wasn't up there. The old Tobermory smashed it out of the park.
Yeah, massively. I mean, having it with a pie and a pint of mild, it should have just been absolutely banging, shouldn't it? So maybe it was just that bottle or something, or maybe it was something in the glass. But I think maybe I was expecting bigger things from it. It was very interesting, but slightly wacky. But I wouldn't want to sit and chug 3 or 4 or 5 of them.
No,
that's how I would.
I wouldn't have ordered a second.
Yeah,
put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. So then you say we did the comparison between the two, went some Japanese, and then we went up this. Oh, we had a jaunt around Glasgow first. Do you remember?
A fucking jaunt. We did a half marathon, you prick.
That was
Duncan is let's go and explore.
Well, let's walk off that massive Japanese lunch we've just had. Right?
It was absolutely mega. We had so much food, and then on top of the pie, we probably ventured into some sketchy fucking areas down by the river, and then headed back into town.
We had a walkabout everywhere we could find, and then we said, okay, now let's go to the Bon Accord.
Yeah. Right. What I will say, and this is wanky for me, the architecture in Glasgow, I didn't stop banging on about it all weekend. The buildings are stunning, and there is so many empty properties. I'm baffled how they're empty, what people are doing with them, and why people aren't living there.
There's a lot of empty buildings, which is surprising.
Yeah. It was they were stunning. The actual building outside to look at were a cross between London and New York, sort of old school New York.
Bit Victorian. I think it's a bit Victorian, isn't it? Some of it's a bit some of it feels slightly gothic. There's angels and stuff inset into buildings and things like that.
I got vibes of Cardiff in there. Obviously, we had Mr. Butte pop down from Glasgow down to Cardiff and had a little park down our way and set up a few houses down in Wales. So a lot of the housing and building sort of structures around the outside of the Cardiff city centre look similar to Glasgow. So yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, very good. So
wanky point aside.
Yeah.
Back to whiskey.
So we traipsed up this hill to the Bon Accord, right? And go in there,
died.
Much bigger pub, probably bigger whiskey selection. It's hard to tell. It's I
think so. Spread out more.
Yeah, slightly wackier beers on tap. Immediately I noticed behind the bar they had this year's Oswa winners.
Yes, they did.
Up on the wall.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Online Scotch Whisky Awards. So they had the bottles up there. Both places have really friendly bar staff, as you would expect. Really helpful, really knowledgeable bar staff, as you would hope for. We sat down and we had a couple of whiskies, I think. Oh my gosh, Billy dropped by.
Billy dropped in.
15 minutes of pure entertainment.
Yeah. It's do you know when someone amazing just pops in, gives you just a little pickup and then leaves, and leaves you wanting more?
It's
was
exactly what happened. I wanted
Billy
Billy to pop up
Encore.
just every
Yeah.
day for like 10 minutes. It's probably how his wife feels, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, Billy, you're a legend for coming by. You made us laugh so much, and then you just chipped off. You were like,
Yeah.
gotta go.
You go to Glasgow Festival? Nah.
Do you remember what we had in the Bond, though, to drink? You had that wacky doctor's thing.
Yes, I had. There was a bottle called like something like your aunt's Fanny's uncle's cat's arsehole or something, like a blend. And I was like, I'm going to have to get that now because it's literally talking about cat's arseholes on a bottle of whiskey, which is hilarious. She went, oh no, we've got like another one after that. They've released the second bottle in. So I grabbed one of those and it was called Doctor's Special. Blended Scotch whiskey. And it says, the absolute fannies of fine Scottish whiskies.
It was actually really good, wasn't it?
It was lovely. Really, really good blend.
It had definitely had some Islay peated whiskey in the mix there, didn't it?
Yeah. It was really good. I don't know how much that is a bottle. It's like 45% ABV, I think it was, and it was just, decent dram.
You went for something interesting
46.
in you, and I just at that point, I just fancied something that I already knew and loved. So I got a Glenallachie, the White Heather 15.
Yes.
Glenallachie key. That's for Ben, whiskey with Molly.
Glenallachie.
Yeah.
Key. Victories. Shooting Stars reference. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was nice. I haven't tried that before.
I can't remember
seen
what
it
we
a
had
few
after that,
times.
and we hadn't had that much, which means that we were already very tired at that point, right? That was before we went to a Two Stacks whiskey tasting.
Yes, that was.
We went what's it called? What's that pub called? The Irish pub?
Malone's.
That's it, Malone's.
Yeah.
Straight in, creamy pint of Guinness, bosh.
Stunning Guinness.
Very creamy head.
Yeah, like you could have built a house on this head. It wasn't going anywhere.
We were getting really excited. You could do it when you tip the glass at basically 30% tilt and it's still clinging to the top.
It was a good Guinness, so that's a massive recommendation if you're after a pint of Guinness in Glasgow. Yeah. We did get another one from a taxi driver the next day.
Two, didn't we? We weren't able to capitalise on it.
You can't go, you can go in there. It's the best Guinness in town. It's an Irish bar. It's Celtic. If you take that poppy in with you, you're going to die. That's like, right, let's avoid that one then.
Take the poppy off, pal.
Yeah, take the poppy off, please.
Yeah, so Libby invited us to this Two Stacks tasting, which one of the founders was doing at Malone's.
Yes.
So we go in there, we sit down, we get some Guinnesses in. Libby turns up with her other half. She's with the group. We're there on a different table. We're trying to watch the sport, getting ready for this tasting, enjoying our Guinness. Then
we got hijacked.
Brian Malt Musings turned up, and Ben Whiskey with
Brian,
Molly.
his wife, Ben, and
Mike.
Mike.
Of course, yes, Mike.
Whiskey Rover.
Whiskey Rover.
Second, Mikey Mike.
Yeah. And they weren't involved in the tasting. Ben was coming from a tasting.
But I love it because Ben said, like, when he came in, he's like, got big day tomorrow, super sensible, blah, blah, blah. I've already done the aquavit.
He goes, lads,
tasting.
get me. I need to be home by 10. And this is
and
not
like,
a big night, lads.
And I went, all right, well, go home now, Ben, because you'll be there like at 9 and you'll have like brownie points in the back.
It was like 7:30 at that point. We were like, you could go home a hero.
And he was like, yeah. And he went,
I could do. Or
no. Then joined in, had another like 6 drams.
It was basically, we can't pick this up enough. They have like an Irish whiskey club at Malone's once a month, I think.
Yeah.
They're really nice people, cracking bar. It was really pretty busy. And it was £10
massively
for 6 banging whiskies.
Yeah, well, 5 and a
liqueur was the best bit. I mean, I'm all over that. So there's no way we can do all of them, but one of them was it number 4? Was it a Cooley?
Number 4 was, I think it was a Cooley cherry.
Cherry.
Was it cherry?
They've done
cherry
like everything to that whiskey.
CHERY. Mega. And he was like, if you like that, tomorrow there's a blackcurrant one or a blackberry one on the stand, which I did try.
And they also had one, Dram 5, which was really wacky.
Dram 5 smelt like an armpit. It was like Marmite. It was horrendous.
I thought it was like that Ardnamurchan.
They kept saying that. What do people think? And I went, this is awful on the nose. And he's like, oh, tastes nice though. But the nose was disgusting.
I thought on the nose it was a bit like that golden barley Ardnamurchan that everyone was raving about. So I didn't think it was that bad on the nose. I thought it was just interesting. And then
something in there made me want to slightly die.
But this was a really good flight of whiskey though, like for £10.
Yeah.
So I was I was just trying to sip little bits, not be too crazy. And I think we went back to the Bon. Is that right?
We went back to the Bon Accords.
My God, we could have called the episode Back to the Bon.
We hit 88 drams. That's fire and lightning.
Because I was really worried about not being fresh on Saturday because we had to serve whiskey for like 2 4-hour sessions. So I was really trying to be careful. Worried. So I was like giving away some of my drams, only having tiny sips, like that type of stuff. And Mike was just getting on it. I
had all 6. Everything from the Bon, didn't leave a fucking sausage, was smashing down Guinness, loving life.
I wasn't leaving any Guinness. Just
freedom!
Freedom, yeah.
If I'd have had blue face paint and a kilt, I'd have been waving my willy round, shouting at English people.
Which brings me to the first revelation and something which I held back from the what's been up my arse. I'm going to hit you with this.
Go on.
This is a bloke thing, right? So if you listen to the podcast and you're a lady, I apologise already in advance, right?
Or thank Duncan for giving you an insight into how we strange creatures work.
Yes, equally it could be like that. So here's the dilemma. We're 2 blokes staying in a twin room together, right? Mike has been, from the moment we got there on Friday, every about 2 hours during the day, he's gone, I'm just so sorry in advance for later. I'm going to really snore really loudly and not going to be able to sleep. Just being polite. Just during the day. He's just working in there. We could be like we've had a 1 minute. We've not said anything for like about, 60 seconds. Mike goes, just so you know later, I'm going to really snore loudly. Just so you know. It's going to be horrendous. I'm so sorry. When we turned up, he's like, I've got your earplugs ready just in case. I'm like, I can't sleep in earplugs, but it's very thoughtful. So nice of you, Mike.
Yeah.
So he's like building it up. So I was expecting him, and the first night I didn't really sleep, but it was no fault of Mike's. It was just, I had been around and not really sleeping much over a few days. Mike slept like a baby.
Yeah, silent.
I could only criticise him maybe of slightly heavy breathing, but you can't say someone can't breathe when they're sleeping. Otherwise they will literally be dead.
Yeah, well, I needed something to get me over the line, so I did apologise for that.
The sort of epiphany is we both get told by other halves that we're very bad snorers.
Yeah, now, every single night.
And we had drunk. And everyone knows you snore worse when you've had a drink.
Yeah.
So we're a bit sort of wondering, is it 100% true?
Is there some sort of
is it just a conspiracy? Yeah.
Or there's some agreement going on behind the scenes. It's just a way of like.
Or were we able to subconsciously control our snoring because it worked both ways pretty much?
Maybe.
Because we didn't want to annoy the other person.
I don't know. I like
find the whole thing so
thing.
confusing, Mike.
I feel like there's a guidebook somewhere, and it's like, right, you're married now.
Yeah.
You are now allowed. This is your moan, so you can moan like shit about snoring, and it gives you like sort of brownie points to sort of do stuff because like we feel guilty for it.
Exactly right. Or for example, is snoring at home like around your other half just like some sort of defense mechanism to assure occasionally you get like more space to yourself? I mean, I spent a lot of time thinking about this post festival. My genuinely mind was blown how you didn't snore. I mean, you snored for a very small part of it over 3 nights.
Yeah, I mean, what worries me now is that you were just sitting up watching me sleep with like a fucking notepad.
I was sitting. I was standing over you. Sitting down. Sitting's not,
with a fucking like a sound leveler just to see how loud it is. Going, this doesn't add up. The science isn't matching here. It's a
disappointing room because they didn't have one of those those pointless corner chairs they have at hotels. It was such a basic room, they didn't even have like a corner chair. So I couldn't even just weirdly sit in the corner chair. And when you wake up, you're like, oh, that's weird. He's in the corner chair.
I mean, the first thing came in, you were like, those beds are getting separated and like moved apart.
They were too close. They were about 2 foot apart from each other. Yeah. Like, it's too close.
You wouldn't survive a rugby tour, Duncan.
What's an acceptable distance to be from? I mean, bunks is
I would
different.
have put like if we were on rugby tour, those mattresses would have been pushed together and one raised up to make it even closer. And I'm like, yeah,
just so you could touch each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The room was fine. Otherwise, we were like, Mike's like, can we open the window? The windows don't open, Duncan. I'm like, oh no.
Yes. No, he's like, yeah, there's handles. Oh no, they're duct tape closed again. There was just duct tape. The hotel was held together with duct tape. Which on one hand is extremely worrying, but on the other hand shows the value and strength of duct tape.
That's what they have to do, because if that ever becomes abandoned, no one's ever going to go in here again. That's what we learned about Glasgow buildings. Once it's abandoned, you can't enter it for some reason.
It's done.
Just a shortage of hazmat
as soon as someone moves out, that was nice.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah. It was great whilst it lasted.
Yeah.
Don't leave.
No, so yeah, I agree. I think that there is some strange conspiracy going on around snoring because, yeah, I've had it drummed into me how bad I am at snoring.
Yeah. Well, here you go. Side note, anyway.
Yes.
And that leads us nicely on to Saturday and
Saturday
the
morning.
big day, right?
Yes.
You've got us 2 lovely white hoodies. Absolutely beautiful.
Merch on point again.
100%. People were after those hoodies, man. They were
Yeah,
after
no
them.
one asked me for mine, I don't think.
I got a couple of requests, less than the pink one, which just goes to show the colour is everything, right?
Colour is everything. Baby pink for the win. Obviously, bright white at a whiskey festival, 2 sessions. We had a plan because it's inevitable that some idiot is going to fucking nudge you or do something or spill something down the table, which happened many times. But I only come away, I think, with 1 drop of something on me. But if it had got worse, we had marker pens and we were going to draw around it and be like, this is Palo Cortado sherry. This one is a Glasgow Isla cask one. So you can start seeing the colour variations on our top.
I sort of wish if we'd had more time and everything was less hectic, we could have just got people to sign the hoodies anyway. But there was no time for that. The whole day was relentless. So we got up, we got in a taxi after having whatever breakfast, and then this taxi driver, you talked to him the whole time about the state of Welsh rugby.
Yeah.
I remember that. You went on a rant about Welsh rugby.
He started it.
Did he?
Yeah. I think he, obviously, as soon as he knew I was from Cardiff, the door opened slightly about rugby, and he probably wished he'd never opened that door.
You and him are just going at it about the state of like recruitment in rugby in
Scottish
the 2 countries.
and Welsh rugby. We're at school level. We were talking about that's how intense we got.
It was really intense.
Duncan's just sat there like breathing heavily on the window, drawing cocks.
I'm not even going to try. I'm saying there's no point. I was actually just enjoying having a quiet moment to myself. So, taxi driver was really nice. Made a couple of recommendations.
Lovely bloke.
Mike and him put the world to rights about rugby recruitment in the 2 countries.
Yeah.
Get to Hampden Park.
Yeah. But do you remember he said he talked about the Bonaccord because he was like, I want to get into whiskey. So we were trying to help him decipher what he likes food wise and things and what might be things. So if he has listened to the pod, hello, mate, you were lovely. And
you were lovely.
For dropping us off. It was a lovely
He had a lovely
conversation.
story, didn't he, about a couple of Americans. And he just, if he ever gets any people in the taxi that ask him, he just drops them off the Bonaccord and just says, go and have a chat with them. They'll tell you what to buy.
But he took them in there. Like he took the 2 American lads into the bar, went,
That's what I mean.
These 2 want to learn about whiskey. Can you help them? And it's like, you just wouldn't get that from a taxi driver. I don't think anywhere else. I've never experienced anything like that. Yeah.
Really nice bloke. So we get to Hampden Park, obviously the big ground and big football ground. These huge concrete steps going up. We breeze in. No, and we're like, why are we paying? I mean, we weren't paying.
We weren't paying.
Future, why are we paying?
Glasgow,
I mean, honestly, the security was.
No one asked a frigging thing. I mean, maybe it was the matching hoodies.
Did we Devon Brown them or something? I mean,
like Star Wars. These are not the droids you're looking for.
We just look so confident.
These are not the Southerners you're looking for.
Yeah. So we turned up about, was it an hour and a half before the show? Maybe they were thinking they'd have to be lunatics to turn up an hour and a half early for a whiskey show. I reckon it's probably that. They were like, these guys are definitely working here.
Yeah.
So we trot in, go upstairs, go and locate the Glasgow Whisky Distillery, which was in the Nevis room, not the Ben Nevis room, the Nevis room.
Mm-hmm.
Have a jot round, meet all the other people.
Massive stand.
Massive. And how much? It was like 3 stands worth.
Yeah. I think Seb said someone dropped out, so they increased their foot space and could then bring more bottles. So I think, who was the whiskey shop were there?
Oh, it was Royal Mile Whiskies.
Royal Mile. So unless the bottle was available on Royal Mile, they were a bit like, we don't really want you, which I get. It's fine. They're hosting the shop on
They'd
the
said
site
like
for the festival,
6 bottles a stand, but Glasgow had seemed to have like about 3 stands. So it was like as many as you want.
North Star had 300 bowls.
Like that Marcus.
Marcus literally had no. I'm surprised there was even room to like put a glass down to pour something. Yeah, he did very well in ignoring them entirely. But no, Glasgow Stand was huge.
Marcus Pierre White, like the famous chef. It's Marco Pierre White, isn't it? But Marcus Pierre White, because
Marcus Pierre White,
he's very handsy when he's presenting and intense.
Yeah,
he could sell sand to the Arabs, that fella.
Yes,
He's a top
definitely.
lad.
He could have sold me a lot of whiskey, and he had some great bottlings. So yeah, top boy.
Top boy.
But yes, the Glasgow stand, massive, loads of bottles, really like good looking stand. All the whiskies, the discontinued series, and the Banditti rum, which is now like, I feel like I work for Banditti.
You were just owning that.
I did not leave that Banditti stand at all during the day, apart from the break in between to grab food. I was at a rum festival. Everyone else at a whiskey festival.
But you were loving it though.
Yeah, it was quality because like every single one of them was amazing. Like the bog standard rum, like 44%, £27.50, still there. Then the peated spiced rum,
you still got
30 quid, cask strength, comes straight out of the Glasgow Whisky peated casks. 30 quid for a really high strength rum. Then they had Madeira. We've covered them off in a previous episode. Madeira Port and PX, and just pouring rum for people. And people go, I don't like rum, but they couldn't get to the Glasgow stand because it was so busy at times. And I went, let me just entertain you. Come on, try this. And as soon as they tried like the PX one or the Madeira one, they were like, what the hell? I was like, that's 30 quid. I want to know what the sales were because I feel like I drove like sales through the roof on that rum.
I mean, I like the rums because we've tried them. Your enthusiasm was kind of infectious. So when I get somebody, because how much you were going into it, so we're kind of jumping ahead here, but if I got somebody who was a bit stuck during the day, they weren't sure they wanted, they're like, well, I don't want peated and I don't want this. And I go, do you know what? Just try a rum, see what you think. And they were loving it. Yeah, they were absolutely so. Drop a rum into like a flight of whiskies, and they were like, "That's banging." So hats off to you. You weren't just on the rums. You were generating, I think, the positivity for the rums.
I was basically Jack Sparrow.
You were Jack Sparrow. Yeah, you should have had more of an outfit.
Running round on my tiptoes, just pouring rum. Like
it was. So like this stand was beautiful. They'd done Libby and Seb, so the marketing, so global marketing manager and marketing executive, I think, for Glasgow Whisky Distillery, had invited us along. Beautiful stand, massive stand at the end of this Nevis Hall. They got us a cask end with their name and our name on it, which was lovely. We turned up in these white hoodies, slightly hot, but we we're going to keep them on anyway, with like the Scottish flag on the back, our brand on the front, sleeves rolled up, ready to go. And 4 hours times 2 with a lunch break was very busy. I have no idea how many people to talk to, but the first wave in the first session was intense. It was like one of those computer games. You know, you see them advertised on Instagram, right? Yeah. Where they got the blaster guns and you can't stop the people coming.
Just waves of people.
Like, and then every time you'll power up and there's just like more people coming. And so what you're having to do was, some of us were doing this, when people were, you were trying to sort of signal to them and like point to a direction, because all you really want to do is serve them a bit of whiskey, have a bit of a chat with them. If they want an in-depth chat, fine. If they want a light chat, fine. But the end of the day, you want to get a bit of whiskey into their glass or a bit of rum into their glass, right? Or vodka or gin, because it was just about everything at the Glasgow stand. And I was trying to think, we saw loads of people that we know, and I think we should do shout-outs all at the end of the episode. Yeah. We will do as many names as we can remember at the end of this episode. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, they're going to name check me, it'll be right at the end of the episode. We're just going to have a go at remembering every single person that we met. We want to shout out.
And it's unlikely that we will remember.
We're unlikely to remember all of them, but we'll have a go. As people were coming up, there was so much choice. I was going to ask you, so you were very much mainly focused on the rums, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was getting a lot of enthusiasm for the new peated releases. Massively. I mean, massively. And I opened that bottle of Marsala, the peated Marsala, and had it this week. And I had it and I thought, damn, it's really vivid, it's strong, rich. You definitely get I was saying to everyone, you definitely get the bacon. Everything else is up for discussion, because I didn't want to, I was like, if you don't get bacon, I'm like, I don't know what planet you're on. They were like, well, you get the bacon. I'm like, okay, great. What else did you get, right? So it gave us a drop to Marie, and she was like, wow, this is incredible. What is this? It just goes to show, right? Tropical notes and bacon, that masala, amazing. And you've got the Isla, right?
I got the Isla. Thanks, Seb. Which I stole off you from Wales.
Wales, yeah.
Sorry, acquired.
Stolen bad word, yeah.
Bad word. And yeah, that's outstanding.
They had some drops. On there. They, for example, one of the discontinued bottles was a lovely bottle, I think, Tawny Port cask.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And I didn't even get to try it because I was having no whiskey during the day because it was just too intense. I just wanted to talk to people, pour whiskey, and stay hydrated.
Yeah.
The coffee was helping every now and then. They come around with coffee. Before the thing started, you got a bacon roll. Lunch was like seemingly just a journey up about 100 stairs just to see if they could finish you off.
Yeah. Do you know what my favourite thing about the coffee was?
Go on, I don't know.
Well, you didn't have to smell it for one to see if you wanted milk. But secondly, as soon as
There's
it
no
came,
choice. There's no choice.
David, who's new with Glasgow, would come over and be like, "What are you having in your coffee this time?" And we'd be like, "Oh, I might put a bit of PX rum in there." So every coffee I had, I was having a dram in there of something. So yeah, coffees. That was a selling point. I was literally on the rum stand going, "If you want a coffee, put that. This PX works so well in a coffee." And they're like, "How would you know that?" And I was like, "Ha ha!" Put it up a cup, and they're like, "Hey, he's drinking coffee. He's drinking
coffee with rum in it."
Yeah,
you're giving everybody the sort of ski. I bet you're giving everyone the ski
talk. Ski talk was constant.
Yeah.
Of which some fucking Glaswegians looked at me like, "Do you think I go skiing, pal?" And I'm like, "Or a football stadium."
Just you judging the audience. You're like, "Hey, next time lads, on your ski trip next year, right?
Guys, great for a gap year."
Yeah.
No, those discontinued bottles were great. There was one, I struggle with some of the accents. Obviously, Welsh now sort of fully inbred into England. Going up to Glasgow, dear Lord, like I'm going, I don't know what they're saying. I like some people, and I said, "Lib, what's he saying?" She went, "I got fucking no idea." And he was a French bloke who lived in Germany and had been in Scotland for a while, so his accent was unbelievable, and he just kept pointing to a bottle. And I was like, "Do you want some?" And he's like, you. And I was like, "All right, what is it?" And he's like, just stood there explaining what this bottle was to like 5 minutes. And I'm just like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're saying." I was like, "Do you want some rum?"
I mean, I had that with a couple of lovely lads from Glasgow, and they were recanting to me their trips to Cuba.
Yeah.
And they were just giving me Cuba stories. I was like, I was loving it. There was times when I was only getting about 5 to 10 words in 20, right?
Yeah, but you had the ultimate translator with you, didn't you?
Who was that? Go on.
Shug.
Oh, Shug. Yeah, Shug was there. So Shug is the Cooper, the in-house Cooper at Glasgow Whisky Distillery. Lovely guy. Doesn't like whiskey. Only likes a drop of beer or whatever.
Yeah.
But has worked in whiskey all of his life, or certainly for many years.
You know when you meet someone instantly and you go, "Oh, the banter is top notch." Like, he was quality.
I did manage to get him on one thing that I told you, because he goes to me, well, because I know he's a Cooper, but I don't think, because he kept coming by making jokes, which were funny, to be fair to him. He was very funny. And he goes, so I was like, well, I feel like I could try to pull his leg back, but I sort of failed. So he goes, "Oh yeah, so I used to fix casks, or I fix casks or whatever." And I go, "So how long have you been fixing cars for then?"
Oh,
I thought it was funny, but he was like, "Casks."
No, barrels.
Yeah, barrels.
Like, you're like, "Oh, moment's gone."
Moment's gone now, yeah.
Before you came in, I was like, right, as soon as Duncan comes in, just fucking get into him about being from Essex. And then all day, he's like, "Get out, Essex."
You were doing that all day to people. You're going, people, just random people were shouting to the crowd going, "Are you from Essex, are you?" I was like...
End of the central line, mate. You're Essex.
I gave up a point. I was like, "Yeah, I'm from Essex. What do you want? Come and have a chat." Yeah, like, yes, we had that going on. I'm going to give a shout out to, I think, Kevin and Ingrid, who travelled all the way over, because you get talking to people at these festivals. So there's the 2 lads who were giving me all the beautiful stories about their trips to Cuba, which I thought was fascinating. And there was a couple, Kevin, and I think it was Ingrid. And Ingrid, if I got your name wrong, I'm so sorry, because we met so many people on that day. But they travelled all the way over from Canada to come to Scotland. And I said to them one question. I said, "Did you plan a trip and then find out about this and join in? Or did you build your trip around the festival?" And they were like, "We built our trip around the festival."
No way.
And I was like, "That is too awesome. That is genuinely..." And they were like, "Yeah, it's really expensive to go to like whiskey festivals in Canada, and it's nowhere near as good as this." And so we just said, we want to come to this festival and we'll just do a trip around it. And I was like, that's amazing.
That's brilliant.
And so you got people traveling from Canada and planning a holiday around. If you know how good that festival is, they're building a trip in Scotland from Canada around that festival, right?
Even like, you got around every stand before the show opened, I think, and took a photo of pretty much everything.
Yeah, just in the Nevis room. That was it.
Yeah.
Just that one room.
That was
three rooms.
That's a really good point. There were 3 rooms, but there were people that didn't know that. So they spent the whole time in just that one room.
You could honestly, if your ticket price for one room was worth it. In the room we were in was Springbank, Ardnahoe, Glasgow. You had Aaron.
Brassey were there.
Brassey were there. Oh my days. The Brassey.
Yeah, the Brassey hats.
I think it was Scott gave me a hat right at the start of the day. I went over to the stand and it was like, all right, can I take a picture of the stand, take a picture of every stand? They go, yeah, sure, no problem. He goes, do you want a hat? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say no to a hat.
Yeah.
And I was expecting like a baseball cap or something. And it was this amazing, what do you call it, like a beanie? Yeah, beanie, right? Yeah. I've worn it many times already. Super comfortable, beautiful
Duncan
colour.
Sleeping in it,
mate. If you're listening,
he puts it in chinkapin for the day,
yeah,
and then lets it dry. And then
that's what I was saying to them, because I was saying I'd love that chinkapin cask so much.
Yeah,
absolutely magic. I was telling them we thought it was
so many different companies there. Like, it was overwhelming being on the working side of things. I would have been so overexcited and drunk if I'd have been on the punter side, because so much option.
Talking about stand and deliver, I have to say the Glasgow crew, the Glasgow punters, they're hardier than the punters from elsewhere.
Oh my God.
They could go and go and go and still be sort of with it.
Yeah. I said there was one dickhead per session.
That's not bad.
Which is, considering how many people were there at that festival, is unbelievable. And I even though he was a dickhead, I appreciated him, because he was like, what do you recommend? And like barely able to speak. And I went, some fucking water. And he went, fuck you. I turned around and walked off. And I was like, you can't say fairer than that, really.
Oh. A lot of people came round and really wanted to. They'd say, how long has the distillery been around for? And I mean, it's the second time I've worked on a Glasgow stand. But how long has it been around for? You know, where is it? Where is it? Is a common question.
Oh my God.
Where is it? I've never seen it. Where is it?
And I still don't know. I was like, Lib, where is it again? She lives like,
you
fucking thick Welsh prick. I have told you 20 times and you still keep asking me. And I'm like, sorry.
So
I'm like, industrial estate by the airport.
Yeah, that was a commonly asked question. How old is it? But people super complimentary about the whiskey, and it's not hard to really understand why.
Yeah.
You can go for the whole core range, which we've done before. So you explain the core range to people, then you've actually got some of you can then explain from the core range what's gone into what, and you got something for everyone. So you had like the Tokai was there. You had a couple of good unpeeled options. Tokaji. In fact, that's a fair point.
I know what you're going to say.
Most people, right? No, they go on. I mean, it's true though, isn't it? They were.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is Seb came up to me and went, did you see those blokes that came over and asked about the Tokai cask? And I was like, no. He said, they came over and said they'd listened to a podcast called Tokai the New and wanted to try it. And he was like, that's their podcast, these two lads. And like introduced them. And I was like, no, completely. I was too busy. I would have said hello to him. But I got a little like emotional, little tear in the eye. I was like, oh, fucking hell, it's landed.
Kevin and Ingrid, Kevin had listened to the podcast and he told me only really deep into the conversation. There was a couple of lads that Seb said, you should go and talk to them. And I did. So I don't know if it was the same lads or not.
Yeah.
And I went over and I taught them for everything, served them. The guy was called Derek, the main guy. And he came back right at the end of the day or the end of that session. And he came over just to say thank you. That was the best moment I had all day. Because, not just because, you know, we'd had a nice chat and everything, because the whiskey was really good too. And he said, he just came over to say I had a really great time and to thank everybody. So what a lovely lad. So I know we're doing all shout outs at the end, but specific shout out to Derek.
Special mention to Derek.
Special mention. Also, there was a moment with Derek when Paul Main came over, right when Derek was talking about how Ardnahoe tasted like kidney beans. He's going, did you guys say it tastes like kidney beans? I was like, well, I did get a kidney bean note on one of them. Yeah, anyway, I think it was the infinite lot, but I like kidney beans. And
Paul just slapped you as he walked
Paul
past.
came over and he hears it, and then Paul just immediately went into an amazing story about pineapple tasting, about pineapple tasting, which I'll leave to Paul to tell because he'd tell it way better than I would. But they loved it. They were lapping it up because obviously it was hilarious. So it was cracking. I'm trying to think what the highlights of the day were in terms of the whiskey. I'm going to say, what were the favourites from the rum? What were people unable to say no to? They were like,
So
injected into me.
I would say I didn't realise how quickly the spiced peated one went.
Oh, right.
That was probably, I was doing a lot of like upsell on that, like going, have you had any peated stuff yet? No.
Yeah.
Right. Go away. When you want smoke, come back and find me. Grab me. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you to the whiskey stand, try the peated, then immediately come back to me, try the rum, because it's the same cask. And they're like, oh my God, I can see it, or like it's intrinsically linked and all this shit. And I was like, boom. So the smoked one flew, and that ran out first. And I think the PX ran out bang at the end of the festival. And then the others were significantly not. Peated and PX, definitely. Highlights.
Nice.
Yeah. How about on the stand?
I want to say definitely the Isla cask.
Mm-hmm.
People loved that. And they were coming over and asking for it specifically.
Yeah.
They would say, have you got the Isla cask? Yeah, we have, yeah. Aside from the Isla cask, I think the Marsala and the Tokai cask was a big hit too.
Yeah.
The new, I mean, the thing is, I'm going to sound like I'm saying all of them now, but people were also really enjoying the peated core range, which they've done at Cask Strength.
Cask Strength.
Yeah,
yes,
people were
of
loving
the
that
original
too.
Peated.
Yeah, 100%. And then from the discontinued ones, the one that kept getting asked for again and again was the tequila. People come over and go, have you got that tequila cask? I'll be like, yeah, I have. And they're like, can I try it? I'm like, yeah, you can have a pour of it. No problem. Where did you try it before? They were loving it.
Do you know what blew my mind? Is that for all the hype and fuss of the Manzanilla cask,
Yeah, the Manzanilla.
no one went near it, really. That was there. And I'm like, well, I mean, it went near it, but I would have expected that to have been instantly mullered, because that was like beautiful.
I think people assumed it
rum
had gone. I mean, people did come over and ask if we still had it, but not many, just a few.
Yeah.
It was, people were more interested in what have you got in general. And actually, and this is credit to the people. This is credit to the spirit of whiskey people. I would say to some of them, we've got the Manzanilla cask. And they'd say, do you know, I've actually tried it. I really liked it, but save it for somebody else.
Oh,
what nice people.
Yeah.
So they weren't going, I'll just drink it anyway. They'd say, well, have you got something else I haven't tried? And that's why
I would have fucking grabbed a sample bottle and put it in there, given the option.
Well, there was definitely, I think it was the last bottle they've got. So
yeah,
it's just bottles stuck in people's cupboards at home now, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so
that was, do you know what? That was like a really good, because they had between the rum stand and the whiskey stand was this Glasgow branded barrel, and it had all the discontinued stuff. And it's not that it was exclusive or anything, but I think you probably had to have a bit of engagement to get some of those, maybe.
Yeah.
Really, really good idea. I don't think I've come across anyone doing something like that before. So hats off to Glasgow bringing out some of your old stuff, because if you've had heavy hitters, it's easy to convince someone that's like, I love that one, I really miss it. Yeah. Well, there's one, now try this.
Definitely.
Upsell was easy. It was like, if there was the ability to sell bottles on the stand,
we would have sold
I would have made a fortune for Glasgow Distillery that day.
I think we
honestly,
I think we all, and we should say David was lovely, Shug was lovely.
Yeah. Thank
you so much to Libby and to Seb. After the festival,
Let's do that again.
Special mention goes to the lunch.
Special mention. Oh no! I think Duncan's having a stroke.
Special mention.
Can you smell burnt toast right now?
Just a little bit in my left nostril. Special mention goes to one of the weirdest things I've ever seen at lunch, which is in those two lunch rooms. So you get like food for all the people who are working. And I went through to the second room, and Mike swears he never saw this. He's probably lucky he never saw it, because I can't get it out of my mind. I go through, and I've been told about these free massages, but you've got to get there early. Now, we were some of the last people to go up for lunch, right?
Yeah.
Because we were chatting to people. We weren't bothered. We were like, there's an hour. And we're going to go and get some food and come back down anyway. So I get up there late. And by that point, people are in full swing. So I've got a plate of chow, some sort of stew and curry or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going over to have a bite to eat. And I have to walk past all these people having a massage who look like they've lost control of their bodily functions. They're in all kinds of like weird positions, like, you know, like hunched over, like not even like full chairs, just like stumps of a tree or whatever. Like, and people are just working on them. It just looked.
I would have loved a little, like, don't get me wrong, like, I have all my life hated people like touching, like, as in like a massage. Can't stand it. Absolutely can't stand it. Since doing my back and I've needed it,
Yeah.
I've now learned to like really enjoy it. And as soon as you said there was mass, I was like, what? Where?
Yeah.
I would have been up there.
You'd have been
like
late.
I can tramp on chips. I'd have been loving life.
Well, it'd been even weird if I
Gutted.
walked past you having one of those strange looking massages. Anyway, we get to the. So I think we went out for curry in the evening, didn't we? Right.
We
after the
did.
thing.
Yeah.
Mike Whiskey Rover kindly had given us all a dram to guess, and I've had almost zero booze during the day, and I know Mike had been incredibly sensible. So we're basically, let's call ourselves sober, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
100%. So we're sober, and we go out for this curry. We have like 1 pint. We've had a snifter of a half of a dram that Mike gave us. Decent curry.
Yeah.
Now, this is another gripe of mine. I wasn't intelligent enough to pre-wash my white hoodie, and under my white hoodie, I'd worn a black t-shirt, and I took it off at the curry, and I looked like I'd been tarred and feathered.
Yes.
Honestly.
You were like a snowman.
I was like, Mike, where's that spare t-shirt that I gave you this morning in case I sweat too much? It's needed for different reasons now.
Yeah. Only one of us had a rucksack with essential survival stuff in it, and it was not Duncan.
It was not me. Yeah. I didn't need to because Mike had a rucksack. So it was only a problem if I lost Mike. Otherwise, he had my t-shirt in it.
I did chuckle. She just took it off. I was like, "Oh, that's bad."
That was bad.
Like,
I know. I didn't realize how fluffy that was going to be.
They're still ruining my washing machine now. Like any dark wash I put in since having them is coming out fluffy still.
How much
like
fluff is on those hoodies?
a lot of fluff. Yeah, that's why they like first wear is so comfortable because it's just like, it's all gonna go on that first.
So we had a lovely curry. Thank you very much to Mike Whiskey Rover for organising that. And then we went to the Bon Accord after that for the post
exhibitors session
special.
Flipping heck.
We are basically sober. We're
Yeah.
sober. And it was messy.
Right, what
No
I will
details,
say,
but it was messy.
if we get the opportunity to do the Glasgow Whisky Festival again, I will not be going for a curry.
We'll be straight in that place.
I will be going via Tesco's, grabbing some like bread and having like 8 rounds of bread and butter.
I think strategically, I would actually take the food in the rucksack.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Decent shout.
Just
Or
have the
toast.
sandwiches in the
Cold
rucksack.
toast. Yes.
Yeah. And then just straight to the pub because all the good whiskey gets hoovered up immediately.
Yes.
They just put all the bottles from the festival on the table. So if you're after all the good drams and you're an exhibitor, you got to get there early.
Yeah.
So we turn up and it's like, I mean, it's not bad, but I mean...
I still had some
still
pretty decent drams in there, like some Scotias and Loch Lomans that have got bits of barrel floated in there. I was like, oh,
that's true.
Yeah. Nuckney and cast strength. I haven't had that before.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Like that one. Fragrant drops. Got to mention that. They had some beautiful bottles knocking about.
I wish I got to try more of their whiskies. I only got to try, I think, 1 or 2.
Well, I did. I said to Rachel, who's like runs the company or one of the owners, like when I went in the bottom, as much as like, again, I've got a very nice amount of whiskey behind me, so I'm somewhat desensitized to like loads of bottles. When I looked at those shelves, the only thing that sort of like immediately got my excitement levels up was fragrant drops and whiskey sponge on the shelf. And because you were like, what are those? Like the labeling's beautiful, the bottles are beautiful.
Because they had a whole segment, didn't they?
Yeah, massive segments.
They had a whole...
Everything of me is drawn to that.
Yeah.
And I was like, all I want to do is try these ones. So, yeah, hats off to both those.
I just want to say reassuringly, I'm now sipping... I tried the Woven Super Blend, which is just very easy sipping. Don't expect massive things off it. I got a free sample with Somerton Club. But I'm now having, finally, the sample of Ardnahoe, which Paul Main poured for both of us. And it's the upcoming one.
Society.
The Sherry Quarter Cask. And I'm going to say...
2 sherries, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Oloroso and PX Quarter Cask? I think.
I'm going to say it's as good as I remember. It's, again, rich, thick, peated, cold action at the end.
I'm glad you said that because I told... Obviously, we were technically working with Glasgow.
That's fantastic.
I told everyone to go and sign up for the Ardnahoe Society because there's something special coming out.
Yeah, but it's very good again. I mean, very good underselling it. It's rich, bold. It's still got that Ardnahoe DNA with it. Yeah, it's fruity at the start, cream at the end, but it's more like there's more like chocolate and tobacco and sort of raisininess going on in it. Really decent. Yeah. So, did we have fun at Glasgow Whisky Festival?
I can say 100%, even though I worked myself, I will say, because Seb and Livy were like, go and take a break, go for a walk. And I'm like, no, I am fine. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, I worked myself like a dog and loved every second of it, because it was like chatting to 70-80% whiskey nerds who you could just chat to about the spirit properly and the different cask types and stuff, and then new people that know nothing about rum or whiskey, and then just having that ability to tease the tasting and then ping them off to your stand to the right and get them on the whiskies. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Definitely want to go as a punter. 100% want to go as a punter at some point. But really, really enjoyed being on the other side of things again. Thought it was quality.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Pouring whiskey for people and having a chat, or pouring anything, rum, whiskey, just having a chat with them. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I think it's a destination festival. Glasgow's a great laugh for a weekend. You cannot go wrong if you can get a ticket.
Yeah,
because it sells out so fast. Get a ticket.
Absolutely,
can't go wrong. Was the midday or the evening session better?
The earlier session was rowdier, which I don't think many people were expecting. It's probably been the flip of some other years.
Yeah.
The evening session was actually pretty chilled out in terms of like punters and stuff, even though they'd been out in the pubs and stuff all day.
Yeah.
Everyone was in a better mood in the afternoon and more chilled out, I think.
Yeah, I thought they were more chilled in the evening.
Yeah. I think people like in the early, they're obviously not most, but they were like some on the early session. I've paid 35 quid and I am going to get smashed. And it's what I would have done as like a student or something. Like I would have just been like, right, same as when you go to a beer festival as an idiot, you just go boom, boom, boom. I want as many halves as I can get. And it's like, I've had like 40. And then you die for a week.
Terrific. Now, before we get to, I think we're going to have a go at shouting out as many people as we can remember at the end of this episode about at the festival day, right? Not the whole weekend, because we will do a second parter.
Yes.
About our Sunday and our tour of Loch Lomond, hosted by the incredibly sexy Gary Mills.
Yes. Bringing back Hawaiian shirts to the Scottish masses.
Just the hostess with the mostest. Incredible.
Steal the jacket thief that is.
The jacket thief. Say no more. That's absolute comedy gold. We just can't forget about that. Unbelievable. That's one of the us in the back looking at each other and the shock on our faces.
Yeah.
Going, are we getting accused? Anyway.
I think maybe we should call the episode like jacket theft and credit rating.
Anyway, I cannot wait to get in to talk about that. I've just made a note to mention to listeners that if you are a member of the Wine Society, don't forget they've just released a new bottle, which is a 1993 31-year-old Speyside. And this time it's sherry casks, about 18 hogsheads or something like that. It's 3,900 bottles, so you don't have to panic too much. If you want a bottle, you're about to get one. £90.
ABV?
46%. They're always 46%.
Yeah.
So don't know what Speyside Distillery is, but for 31-year-old whiskey,
I'm not going to push it because it didn't give me a sample.
I don't get a sample either, but I have, I've generally found that all the bottles have been.
Yeah, no, they have been
pretty good. Sometimes they fade off a bit, but I mean, 90 quid. Think about it for a Christmas whiskey, bottle of 31-year-olds. For 90 quid, you can just open it. I mean, look, that's still an expensive
100%.
bottle of whiskey, but let's face it, for people who buy a lot of whiskey, 90 quid for a 31-year-old, impress your family at Christmas. Look like you're not tight, right?
I'm going to get one now that you've bloody told me that.
Yeah, well, I will as well, and I'll probably just open it at Christmas.
Because that's the year I started high school.
Oh, so right, okay.
Got to have
1993.
Yeah.
So shall we have a stab
at
name checking as many people as we can remember from Glasgow Whisky Festival from the start of the day to the end of the day?
I'm going to say easy. Brian and his wife.
His better half.
When you say better half, significantly, she was absolutely put Brian to the gauntlet in terms of humour, banter, everything. She was lovely.
Better version.
What a great person.
Yeah, she was a lovely lady.
Yeah. Who was fully aware of the tricks and manipulation that Brian had used to get her to Glasgow at the promise of a show. I think he went to see Aladdin.
Free tickets from...
Oh, he had them free as well.
Yeah,
Tight
free
bastard.
Tickets. Anyway, we're going to get sucked in here. Let's do more name drops from the day. Let's go. So let's do the Blind Drams crew first. So Whiskey Rover Mike. Right?
Yes.
Damien.
Catherine. Paul.
Yes.
PS Whiskey.
PS Whiskey. So tall, right?
Massive. And I know
enormous amount
I said this earlier. massive dude.
I tried to stand on a chair to have a picture with him, and he refused. He made me get down.
Get down, eh?
Get down here.
Get off that chair, Duncan, you fucking dickhead.
He does a lot of it just with his eyes. That's what's more intimidating about it. He didn't really say too much. He just sort of looked at me and then looked at the floor. I was like, I need to get down now.
Man Mountain, lovely bloke.
Yeah. Ben, Whiskey with Molly.
Ben Whiskey with Molly, saw you many times. We got tagged in some photos, didn't we?
Okay, so people that listen to the pod that we met, Alan, very nice.
Oh, yes, Alan Smith. Yeah. Lovely. Fucking great to finally meet him.
Kevin from Canada. Derek. I'll shout out Whiskey Sisters. Had a chat with them over lunch.
I didn't get off the stand, so I couldn't speak to anyone.
Inca Larissa and Jennifer Rose.
Yeah.
Cliff,
of course.
Absolutely.
He again, Cliff kept coming over when I was at my peak with about 4 people doing drums, and he'd be like, it's like coming. I was like, Cliff, come back when there's no one here. Like fucking.
I'm gonna shout out both Ryan and Paul on Idaho.
Yes, Gordon, neat drums. Great. Like we met him after the first session, and Gordon was suitably lubricated, in very merry moods, and what a lovely bloke.
Lee J, Bert Smedley, Rachel from Fragrant Drops. Also
mega.
Amy from Grain and Glass.
Yep.
Oh, Callum and all of his family.
Yes, Callum's
came over
family.
For a hug. We love you.
Yep.
And your family are absolutely lovely. And
yes.
I wish I could have spent even more of the time talking to you.
Big time.
Yeah.
Who else? We had Kevin Grant, I think it is, who is Roy Aquavite's cousin.
Oh.
And Roy.
And Roy.
Yes.
We never met before. We met Roy.
Meet Roy in person.
Yeah.
There is a clear difference, Roy, between your dulcet tones on the pod that makes me want to just like curl up and relax on a sofa to what I'm going to call Rob Roy, the wild Scotsman. And I loved every second of meeting you. And I want to share a dram with you in person again soon, properly.
Amazing.
Who else? Murray from Lindell's Abbey.
Yeah.
Who we met in Wales, was there again. Dean Jode. Sandwich King.
He's on the pod soon, for definite. We had a natter about it, so I'm looking forward to that. Milk and Honey. Oh!
Fucking hell.
Milk and Honey.
Shilton,
We met so many people, it's so hard to remember.
Yeah.
As charismatic as always, Shilton was there. And one of the funniest moments of the day was Ben coming over, doing like a sort of Ben anecdote, right? Comes over, goes, Duncan, you got to try that. I'm like, Ben, I'm not drinking during the day. He goes, I don't care, Duncan. You got to try it. I was like, okay, I'll let it touch my lips. I try it. He goes, what do you think? I go, absolutely banging. Just keeps growing in the mouth. He goes, yeah, it's this special milk and honey cask. He goes, you can't even get it. I'm absolutely fuming. Goes,
mezcal.
Yeah, mezcal.
Milk and honey mezcal cask.
Oh,
yeah, that was
incredible.
delightful.
Yeah.
Shilton came over and dropped a little sample in my glass under the counter. Try this, brother. I was like, yes, Shilton.
Oh, shout out Michel Henry. He was there, had a lovely chat to him. Came over to the stand, tried some of the drams.
Michel Henry, who may have like a football career-ending ACL injury by the looks of it. He was hobbling, but braving it out.
Yeah. And honestly, there's probably lots of people that we've missed, so we're really sorry about that if we have. But if you came over and you liked the pod, we just met hundreds of people over the whole course of the weekend.
Yeah.
And alcohol may have killed a few brain cells.
Big time.
Apologies.
But
yeah.
Overall, a super, super positive experience. Again, thank you to Glasgow for letting us invade your stand for the weekend or for the day. Book a ticket for next year, people, if you get the opportunity. 100%.
Top festival.
Get it booked. Come
right.
from Canada. Get it booked.
All right. As I say, if you like the podcast, do us a favor, leave us a review, give us a 5-star on Spotify or Apple. It's much appreciated.
We are on honestandmalt.com. On social medias, we are on @honestandmalt. Duncan's on @whiskeytip. I'm on @whiskey-wings. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you for a Loch Lomond special on the next one. Bye. Bye. Ba-dum.
and deliver whiskey all your life. Stand and deliver banditti rum that is nice.